bit of Tantra. Look at that, there's a bit of Tantra right there. Oh, yeah.
But guys, follow us on all the social media. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Francis J. Foster, Konstantin Kisin, Trigger Pod. Follow us all.
Anton, kill it already. For
Come on,
God's sake.
follow us, follow us, follow us.
I'm a bit tired of hearing people saying, I don't know how to do my job properly. And I think that's really mean. I remember being criticised. Just remind everybody how criticised I was. That's not acceptable. I hope everybody likes staying at home because we are going to go into lockdown forever. Nobody from New South Wales is going anywhere. We will have 2 million police officers standing at the corner of every street to monitor every single citizen. We're really watching very closely. I hope this really will be devastating. We don't like to be heavy-handed, but what we need to say today now is that if you leave home, we will give you a death sentence. Please know that you will be shot in the face, and I hope it's painful. You are required to obey what we say when we say it, and if you don't, you can prepare to die. I've said from the outset, I don't care about your life and the life of those around you. I don't really give a shit. The government is now about to announce what we call the final solution. We are inspired by history and realise we can very easily permanently get rid of anybody thinking illegal thoughts. We aim to have absolutely zero freedom. Follow the rules or else you'll never be seen again. If you think you can live freely under our very strict and harsh regime, I have news for you. If you even consider breaking the rules, I will personally stab you in the head and rip your guts out. We have 24 hours surveillance of every single person in the community. We want to cause anguish, hurt and suffering to as many citizens as possible. Every day at 11 o'clock, every citizen in this state must listen to me. This is the Fourth Reich, and I will make sure that I never, ever, ever give up power till the day I die.
There you go. So, we're going to do that for a second time. Let's do it. Right.
Fucking useless. Don't even bother with the Bogan cam. Absolutely fucking useless, the lot of you.
Yeah. So there we go.
Francis did a brilliant Bogan cam there. The mics were off. Off to a great start tonight. Welcome one, welcome all. It is Thursday night, and that means the bigotry is back. We hope you're... No, for fuck's sake.
So there, his mic isn't on. There we go, guys. We're nailing it. Welcome to Raw. And before we go any further, if you like the music at the start, that's Wayward Blues. Check it out, waywardblues.com for brilliant blues
fucking
music.
Useless. We're all useless. I was blaming the two of these pricks, but my microphone was muted as well. He's useless. I'm useless. Anton is useless. You're all useless. We're all here. It's Thursday night, and that means the bigotry is back. We hope you're well. We hope you're having a good one.
Yeah, we are going to have a great old time. Anton, that sound you can hear is Anton turning his mic on. So there we go. We're nailing it. You're useless, useless, useless.
Stay at home, can.
Stay at home, you can. Right.
By the way, some Australians get very upset, including Claire Lehman, when we point out that their government is turning tyrannical. Or we joke about it, but you know, it seems like they're putting people in camps. I saw a little photo from a newspaper article the other day where there was a man being arrested for not wearing a mask with his little daughter sitting in his lap crying. It's always a good look.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, mate, right? Here's the thing, right? If you don't make her cry, how's she going to learn? Think about it.
Yeah.
It's logic.
Yeah, exactly. So a lot of great stuff happening all over the place. We've got super chats flowing in. We've got PayPals flowing in. Guys, a reminder to smash that like button if you are already enjoying the show. I think we've shown you a comedy of errors and just errors.
Absolutely. It's what we do here at Trig. But it's lovely to see all you bigots in the chat. We're going to talk about all different types of things, because the world is a stunningly beautiful place, brave and stunning, hashtag. So there's loads to talk about.
There is. We will be talking about all the good stuff, all the best news from around the world, Francis, won't we?
Yeah.
First of all, we should talk about the episode from yesterday, shouldn't we?
We should talk about the episode from yesterday, right?
Dr. John Wyatt.
Dr. John White. Now, there's a few mingy little slags who didn't like him.
He had a different view to me about the NHS, and he's actually a doctor, and I just sit on the internet, and I'm really upset.
I wanker myself so silly to the internet. Why is he different to me? Why does he think differently? Stop being a mingy little slag. You can disagree with someone and still think that their point of view has value. That man is a consultant pediatrician. He saved little kids' lives.
Well, according to him, he mostly supervised them dying, but same thing, really.
But you've got to have a hobby.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, exactly. He was sending them to heaven, in his own words.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the Harold Ship. No, we're not going to do that joke. But we nearly did that joke.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's find out what the bigots are saying. We already have a Miss Super Chat from, it's Mr. Winters. Jesus Christ.
What did he say?
Oh, it's Mr. Winter. Says, would like everyone to join me in taking the knee for Geronimo. His lover described his bubbly personality on Talk Radio today. Never forget, Rip.
Yeah, exactly, mate. He's a beautiful alpaca of colour.
Die.
Alpaca lines matter.
He already did. I'm just very upset.
Yeah.
Chris G with a 250 says, Carl Dunningham, legend. That is all. Who's Carl Dunningham?
Oh, he's probably I don't know, mate. He's probably...
comedian on Instagram.
Oh, right, good. I thought it was probably someone starting a Nazi rally in somewhere like Swindon.
Yeah.
Marching up and down. Michael B on a 5-hour drive. Shouldn't be typing. Correct. And all I've had to eat today is a croissant. Make me laugh.
Mate, we've done it about twice already. What do you want from us?
Yeah, mate, what you need to do is sit down, right, get some food in you and have a coffee, all right?
Exactly.
Anyway.
And don't stop typing while you're driving, mate, as
exactly. Well. And if you are going to endanger other people's lives, it should be for more than $5, mate.
Yeah.
Up your game.
Exactly. Thanks, Michael B.
Sarah Bigotrous Bernard. I wasn't upset with his opinion. I just have a different view on Dignitas.
To which you are perfectly entitled. And by the way, I have to say, of all the things that he said, that was the one that I found the least persuasive. I think I see his arguments, but I do also think that people who are in tremendous incurable pain and who have absolutely no prospects and who've maybe addressed all the stuff that he was talking about, like their family and other situations, I think they should have the option to end their life with dignity and without all of that suffering personally.
Yeah, I actually completely agree with you. However, it's always good to be exposed to different points of view because sometimes you might change your mind.
Absolutely. And that is why next week on the show, we're going to get Ash Sarkar with Aaron Bastani in a debate about why communism is the best system that's ever been tried, even though it's never been tried.
Yeah, properly. Right. And even though everywhere it has been tried, it's failed.
So let's get some Aaron Bastanis in the chat.
Absolutely.
Neville Bloody Bartos with a 449.
Can we hear FF say yes in his Dutch English accent again? Reminds me of John Hurt in The Elephant Man. Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Neville Bloody Bartos. That is it. We also have a couple of PayPals from
get them in
from a couple of top level bigots. Sarah Bernard, who's also sent us a super chat. She says, last night's interview made me cry. Sarah, I'm sorry. Been told I will die early from my illness. I will not have a good death because of current opioid rules. So glad FF mentioned Dignitas. It should be a person's choice. My cat was treated more humanely than I am. Sarah, I'm very sorry. I hope you did find some solace in some of the stuff that he was saying about preparing for it. I know you would have had your own stuff on that front anyway. But yeah, it certainly wasn't the intention, obviously, to upset anyone. I do think the conversation we had about death itself was very useful and an important one for our society more broadly. And of course, we, as you know, well by now, you have every sympathy from everyone here at the show.
Of course you do, Sarah. And look,
because you're not an alpaca.
Because you're not an alpaca, exactly.
Who should die.
Yeah. Well, no, wrong.
You agreed with me.
Right, involuntarily, mate. Anyway, so I think the thing was with John is the reason we brought him on, for many reasons, because we very much admire him and admire his work, but it's also as well because we wanted to have a conversation about this subject because, to me, it's one of the most taboo subjects in the West. No one really talks about it. No one wants to address it. It's, we don't see people who are dying. We just put them away in a different place. And
where they belong.
And then we don't acknowledge it. And actually, a lot of the comments underneath the video were actually really powerful when you read them.
A lot of people thought it was the best interview we've ever done, which is I mean, obviously up for debate because we've done so many good ones now. But I think it's a legitimate, it's right up there, in my opinion, in many ways. Obviously, the first part when we talked about COVID and all of that might be different for different people, but I thought the part of it when we actually addressed the main issue, which was death, I thought it was brilliant. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I really, really thoroughly recommend you do. And by the way, you're allowed to not agree with everything the guest says.
Absolutely, you are. But
You're
I
not really.
I really enjoyed it. I loved doing the interview. I loved watching it back. I thought it was a great interview.
It's not all about you, mate. There's people watching.
Yeah, I think you will realise that it is actually all about me.
Is it?
Yeah. Trigonometry is about my views and my opinions.
That's not true, though, Francis. If trigonometry was about you, your views, and your opinions, trigonometry would be called something very different. Do you know what it would be called?
What would it be called?
Rate My Takeaway.
Absolutely.
And it would get a lot more views than trigonometry.
Yeah, they've always, how much? It's got about probably 400,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
It just goes there, sits down, eats a pie, and has a chat.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't seen it, this is a YouTube channel that does a lot better than we do. And all it is a massive fat bloke, fat northerner that goes around chips and kebabs and fish and chip shops and eats the least healthy thing that you've ever seen.
He's a great man.
He had a double burger in a glazed donut the other day. It was horrific.
Yeah.
And this cunt was watching it for 2 hours on repeat.
Me, Anton, and Poon Poon watched it, and I showed it to Poon Poon to show what people are like in the north.
See, you're all fat cunts deep inside, and Anton doesn't look like one, but deep down there is a fat cunt residing within him.
It's because he's northern.
He's nodding as well.
He's northern.
He's not northern. He's a Scouser. There's a difference.
No, he's not. They're all northern. Right, next.
We've got a paper from Lance with a 5. It says, how about getting friend of Trigonometry back on the show to give us her analysis, I'm assuming he's talking about Helen Dale here, of what's happening in her home country, Australia and New Zealand. I think it'd be a timely and cracking interview. Yeah, that's definitely an interesting conversation. And then he sent us another 5 specifying that the friend of Trigonometry is, of course, Helen Dale. That is a good shout. We'll definitely talk about it. We're going to have a booking meeting tomorrow, and all manner of things will be discussed.
Lovely. Next. Joseph Jackson. A lot of people are stressing about whether or not to get the jab. I'm on vax.
No. You first of all, you have to do this in a South African accent.
Oh yes, South Africa.
And then you have to read it properly.
A lot of people are stressing about whether or not to get the jab. I'm unvexed.
Exactly. Now in a South African accent, this super chat makes perfect sense. Well done, Joseph. Anton enjoyed it. We didn't.
South Africa.
A wise Coyote with the $2 says, if only Geronimo had taken the jab.
Yep.
I'd give it a jab.
Yeah, exactly.
To the head.
No, you wouldn't.
Thanks,
mate. Our packer would have beaten the shit out of you.
Not if I had a gun, mate.
Yeah.
Chris G with a 5 says, Kyle Dunnigan is also on YouTube. Watch his fresh press of DC 3-part comedy. He's also been on Rogan before you guys. Well, we're definitely not getting him on now, mate. What a cunt.
Exactly. We don't need competitors.
No, we'll check him out, obviously.
Yeah.
Anton, if you could actually make a note of this Kyle Dunnigan fella. Yeah. Any key Ike?
Best TED talk I've seen wasn't some bloody know-nothing academic. It was an ambulance paramedic. He stopped lying to people, telling them they were fine when they were dying. Made them at peace.
And that's what you want, mate. You just turn up at A&E with a little problem, and the guy just goes, "Yeah, I think you're going to die, Mr. Kisin."
I think it's better in an Australian accent. You're going to die, you can't.
Yeah, that's great. That's what you want. Thanks, Icky Ike, for the $10.
Mr. Winter. A racist interviewer asked the oppressed POCs in the Taliban if women have a place in government. What do you think? What do you think is making the bacon butties? Come on.
Who do you think?
Who do you think? Sorry, is making?
Come on, use your head before it gets lopped off. I apologize for the way he butchered it. Francis butchered that super chat worse than the Taliban would a homosexual woman who wants to be at the top of government. Thanks, Mr. Winter. Appreciate it.
Next.
Graham Turner with 2 quitters. If you're gonna die, die with your boots on. Okay.
Next. Sarah Bigotress Bernard. It didn't make me cry in a bad way. It just made me face some stuff. I really liked it. Crying isn't always bad. It was an amazing interview. That means the absolute world to both of us.
Incorrect. So, crying is weakness. Man up.
Yeah. Exactly.
Drink vodka, feel better. Sarah, obviously we're joking. We're glad you enjoyed it. And of course, that's the point of the interview. Sometimes it's about facing stuff for all of us. It had an impact on how I think about these things as well. So really thank you for watching it. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad it was useful. And, there's lots of other people who feel the same way about it as well.
Lovely. Thanks, Sarah. Next, Summer Heath, FF. Please improvise a romantic message to my boyfriend. He lives in Germany and I'm about to see him after almost a year apart due to restrictions.
I seriously think this is one for me. I don't know why you're asking him about
Listen,
this.
I can do this, darling.
All right, take
okay.
over. Go on.
Any accent, welcome. Right, okay. Listen to me, you little cunt. I haven't seen you in a year, so you best be at your best. If not, I'm going to punch you in the chops, you slag. There you go.
You get what you pay for. $8.99 only buys you that shit. Thanks, Summer Heath. Appreciate it. And congratulations to you and your boyfriend for finally getting to see each other. It's very important. Carl A with the $5.
Recently read why they don't believe us.
Well, why don't they? Francis.
Yeah.
Francis. It can't be your glasses if you're reading words in the wrong order. It's got to be some form of retardation. So
what do you mean? You can't say that. It's politically incorrect.
It is, but it's also factually accurate.
Right, you said, right?
Yeah.
That
yeah.
I couldn't say what I said.
I did not say that. I said that you were getting close to the line, and if you don't want to get cancelled, you should watch it. I didn't say what you can and can't say.
Yeah.
What I am saying, however, is if someone sends us a super chat, could you please just, I'm not asking you to read every word perfectly. Clearly, that's beyond you. But could you at least read them in the right fucking order?
What? Doesn't matter, mate.
Why they us believe don't? For the love of God, read it. He's referring to the title of my brilliant article.
Read recently, don't why, believe us they, done well. Bucks 10.
Do you know that is actually how you normally sound as well?
Last year, KK 5-, black pilling me for FF. Cheers. There you go. There you go. That's it.
We're going to get you electrocution therapy. See if that helps, mate.
Yeah.
Thanks, Carly.
All right. Anyway, let's read it properly.
We already have. Kyle, thank you very much. I'm glad you read the article. I've actually done quite a few podcasts since based on this. A lot of people were asking me to I was doing the Epoch Times, which I think is Larry Elder's employer. They had me on today, so that'll be going out soon. I did a few others
That'll be
as well.
left wing.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. So yeah, I appreciate it. I'm pleased with how it went. And by the way, I've got more viral threads in me, so don't worry about it, mate. It's all coming. By the way, my book. Ooh, that's going to be spicy. I read through everything I've got so far. Yeah, it's going to upset a few people.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Next. Harrison, Danny's latest video was at Street Burger Gordon Ramsay. I'm taking my bird there before your show on the 5th of October. Looking forward to getting fat and watching you live. This is a good man. This is a great man. This not only does he know great content, number one. Number two, he knows how to treat a bird.
By the way, Anton, did you notice something? Whenever there's a super chat about food, Francis has absolutely no trouble reading it perfectly. Mate, can you just pretend that every super chat involves food and read them correctly?
No, because it requires too much
Okay,
brain
Francis,
power.
we're going to work on the psychology of this. So imagine that at the beginning of every super chat, you need to imagine that there's the word burger.
Yeah.
Then you read burger, and then you read the rest of the super chat. Let's see if that improves things.
No.
Harrison, thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it. Anton, let's go to the next one, please.
Baslar 87. Watch your Mike Graham interview. Get him back.
That's a good shout.
Yeah.
Mickey the Graham. Yeah, that'd be great.
I like him. He's a nice fellow.
We're going to have to rein in the fat shaming if we get him back on, I think.
Yeah, we will do.
Yeah, but Mike would be a great returning guest. Yeah, that's great. And JHB as well, also still at Talk Radio. That would be an interesting conversation too.
Yeah.
Basler 87, thank you.
Icky, why doesn't everyone wonder why FF can't read the super chats when the answer is obvious? FF, your dad told you that if you keep doing that, then you'll go blind. You need to move in with Poon Poon.
Yes, you do, mate. When are you proposing?
No, because when you move in, you get less sex than before. Everyone knows that.
I don't think it's possible to get less sex than before, mate.
That is true. I've got to go. Look, before I have sex with her again, I need to read the Communist Manifesto she's given me. How long is it?
It's quite long, mate.
For fuck's sake. Anyway.
Then, as we know, you can barely read a super chat, so how you're going to find your way through that, I don't know. Chris G says, FF is dyslexic. Are you?
No.
So what are you then? That would at least be a credible explanation.
What? No, mate. Look.
So what are you?
I'm a legend. That's what I am. That's me, mate. I'm a legend.
Now, I know every time I criticize you in any way, the whole chat is like, why can't keep being so? Because I have to work with this prick.
You love it.
Which aspect of it do I love?
You love every part of it. Every part of it you love. Every part.
Stop being so mean.
Every part you
Get
love.
fucked. Thanks, Chris G.
Lovely. Yes, this is from Kick the Spike. I also got emotional watching last night. I hung on his every word. Well done, guys. I have shared it. Has it changed your mind about anything?
Would you say it's changed your mind?
One thing that I actually don't think we talked about enough, we discussed enough, was the effect that the pandemic has had on medical staff, particularly with things to PTSD. One of the reasons that I actually thought we needed to go down this direction is because I got a message from someone on Instagram saying to me that there was a number of NHS staff who have gone ill with PTSD. And there was actually, and look, I don't know if this is true, but this is what I got told. Apparently, one of them committed suicide as a result of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I thought that was something that we needed to talk about.
Yeah, it doesn't get talked about a lot. And, we've got a few articles possibly that we'll raise about this today. I have a lot of friends who are doctors, and those people, they do a very important job, sometimes a very, very difficult job emotionally and physically. And in many other ways. And I think it was good to talk about it. I wouldn't say that he changed my mind, but I think he reinforced the point. I've often thought about this, and JBP, J to the B to the motherland P, he always talks about be the strongest person at your dad's funeral and so on and so forth. And I think that those moments in life are very, very important. And the very big possibilities, as well as obviously being tragic in some ways. But I know that often losing parents changes people, losing others changes people, and also facing your own death changes people for the worse and for the better. I've seen it myself with family members. And I think it's useful to think about in advance so that you prepare yourself for the inevitable and you can meet it with dignity and courage. I think that's really, really important.
No, I couldn't agree more. It was a brilliant interview with John. Realise that a lot of people, there's going to be people who don't want to watch it, understandably so, because it means that you're going to have to confront some of the unpleasant inevitabilities of life. But
you need to man up.
You need to man up. You need to toughen up, right? Have a drink and fucking get on with it. Next, Mr. Winter. FF, I'd like to hear a Norwegian sell me a Gary.
What does that mean?
Don't know. Probably something filthy.
Gary Ablett tablet. Okay.
Yeah, all right. Got you.
Thanks, Mr. Winter.
Neville bloody Bartos. FF, did you get the kids to do the reading in class? Of course I did, because that's good teaching. That's how you win.
Yaya Kitty with a 4.99 says, Burger, I voted for Larry Elder. I really hope he wins. As do I. I really do hope he wins. Like I said before on the show, if Larry Elder can win in California, that is going to send shockwaves, not just through America, but actually through the entire Western world. And to me, that would be almost as big as something like Brexit or Trump. I really do genuinely think that. That would completely upturn the whole political spectrum in America, and it would break a lot of people's minds even more than they already are.
Do we have any optics on how the count is going, or
how the thing is going?
Yeah.
No, we don't know yet.
Okay, right, next.
Yeah, Kitty, thank you very much.
Icky Ike. KK loves every part of it. Oil rubs especially. Exactly.
But only from Anton.
Yeah. Weird.
I want it hairy, mate.
Anyway.
Look, if you're going to shag a bloke, you might as well make him a bloke. Do you know what I mean?
What are you talking about, mate?
You want a real man.
Yeah. So, this is from Grumpy Limey. FF attest. Took the wife on a date last weekend. Ate delicious roast duck, steak rare, and a cheese plate with a cherry coulis.
It works. It works. Just put burger at the beginning of every super chat for the rest of the show, guys. It's the only way. Thanks, Grumpy Limey.
Ed Phillips, can you persuade my bird to come and watch you guys with me on the 5th of October? No, mate. She's not persuaded now. She never will be. All right?
Ed's bird, if you're listening, we're going to be exploring exclusively foreplay techniques.
Yeah. And fisting. That's what we're going to be doing. It's what we're going to be talking with Andrew about. It's going to be great. You're going to love it. I hope you're watching this. What? What do I say wrong? Fisting it can be part of a warm, loving, consensual relationship. Anton will tell you that.
You're a degenerate.
I'm a good man.
You're an absolute fucking degenerate, and there's nothing good about you. Grodkin Blodgett with a 5. It says, Liz Truss has secured a deal worth £130,000 a year to export cattle semen to Mexico. They have a strange taste in exotic drinks. I was once stuck in an airport and I got chatting to a guy whose only job it is to transport bull sperm around the world and other animals. He accompanies animal sperm around the world on planes.
Does he get well paid for that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Top shagger as well, Brazilian.
Of course he was.
Thanks, Grodkin Blodgett.
T-Dog, Sue Perkins doing a great Joe Biden impression.
I don't know if Joe Biden talks that much about fisting, but thanks, T-Dog.
It makes more sense than he normally does. Economic, Newsom, you see, didn't have it.
Yeah,
didn't have
put the burger at the beginning, man. I told you.
Yeah. Newsom recall polls are split, but then polls are shit. I've been thinking about volunteering for Larry Elder campaign. I agree 100% with FF that this would end up upend leftist politics worldwide.
I'm just counting to 10 in my head, so I don't punch him. Thanks, Icky Ike, for the $10. Sebastian Booth with a 5 says, "Are you still in touch with Zuby?" Yeah, I speak to Zuby all the time. Zuby and I are good friends. Why'd you ask, Sebastian?
Anton challenged him to a fight over Twitter and said that he would destroy him. Do you know that?
Thanks, Sebastian.
There you go. That was my nickname on the playground.
Not while you were a teacher, hopefully. Chris G with a $5 says, burger, chicken chow mein, duck fried rice, supercalifragilistic, whatever.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Nailed it.
See, it works. Put burger at the front of every super chat. It's going to work. Thanks, Chris G.
Fucking do it.
That's it. Okay, we've got a bunch of PayPals to catch up on, then we'll actually get into some stories. It's been a little while since we actually talked about serious stuff, but we
were talking about serious stuff. We were just saying.
Peter with a 5 says, Dr. John Wyatt, my impression was he wants terminally ill people to suffer, hoping that would yield some learning or reconciliation in the patient's life. One, that person won't benefit from it for long, since they're 20 minutes to Hades. Anyone else's benefit is not worth the price of that person prolonged suffering. It was his Christian perspective speaking. Fair enough. Christian compassion drives many devotees to a healthcare occupation, which is admirable, but this is taking it a bit too far. I don't think John wants anyone to suffer unnecessarily. I think what he was saying is there is opportunity to resolve things. And I agree with him. I have seen it in my own life. People who were dying, who reconciled with family members that they hadn't spoken to for a long time, addressed things that needed addressing, gave a lot of their kids and other people that they'd hurt an opportunity to reconcile and make amends and apologize and so on. And that can be very important. I certainly don't think Dr. Wyatt wanted anyone to suffer. And Stanko with a 551 says, I received a text this year from MAID, the assisted dying program offered in Canada. They texted to confirm my appointment. Obviously a wrong number. I texted back saying, I think you have the wrong person. The doctor told me it was just a sprain. The person who sent it took the text with good humor and thanked me for replying, stating, this could have been bad. I have a dark sense of humor. Well, it's good that you have one.
This is from Rez to the mother-loving Pez. Read, please, in the effing right order.
Read, not read.
Exactly.
Fucking useless. It's 100 quid from Rez to the mother-loving Pez. So let's get some words in the chat in the right fucking order.
No. Do them in whatever order you want.
Let's get some hearts in the chat. Let's get some words in the chat. And let's get some fucking assisted dying in the chat for people who can't read.
Anyway.
You've angered me. I love language and I love words. And you've angered me.
Why?
You deserve the fate of the alpaca. If you test positive twice for anything in a row, you deserve to be put down. That's what I'm saying.
What about if you test positive for? I was talking with this about my director, right?
You were talking with this about your director.
Exactly. I was talking with this about.
Anton, what have you been putting in this tea? What's going on?
Right. Okay.
All right, President Biden, go on.
Yeah. Right. Okay. We were talking about a lot of things. Yeah. But in particular, we don't respect shaggers enough, mate. It's true.
What the fuck is wrong with you? What's happened to you? This used to be a serious show. We used to address important topics.
Yeah, we did. And now
Now look at us. You insert the word fisting into every comment,
yeah,
and all you do is misread super chats unless they're about food.
yeah. I don't know. I think it's
What's
living,
happened to you?
I think it's living with Anton. He's destroyed me.
Well,
Not like that.
didn't need to know that. Anula with the 50 quid as well. So let's get some fists in the chat for Anula. The power fist, obviously.
Of course.
Yeah. She says, absolutely great interview. Never thought of death in that way. Important to be brave to talk about things that can be difficult to talk about. Francis agrees. Thank you so much, Anula. Thank you very much. Really appreciate the PayPal. Thank you all for keeping the show going with your super chats and your PayPals. We really, really appreciate it. And now, Francis,
Yep.
let's talk about some stories, shall we?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, one of the things I thought we should talk about is actually there was an article in The Guardian, but also on Ground News, Anton, it's number one, about vaccine passports, because the mingy little slags that the British government are going to try and press ahead with vaccine passports. And it turns out the research has been done. It's not going to work.
Vaccine passports will make hesitant people even more reluctant to get jabbed. Imposing vaccine passports is likely to make hesitant people even more reluctant to get COVID jabs. Research involving more than 16,000 people has been found as Downing Street vowed to press ahead with the plans within a month.
There we go. All right, so it's a story from The Guardian, Anton.
Vaccine
Can you click through to it? Yeah, thanks.
I like that. I see you just said it's a story from the government, from the Guardian.
Yeah.
And Anton just canned it.
Data comes as number 10 vows to press on with the plan to make vaccination a condition of entry for nightclubs.
So we'll go scrolling, there they are. Imposing vaccine passports is likely to make hesitant people even more reluctant to get COVID jabs. Research involving more than 16,000 people has been found as Downing Street vowed to press ahead with the plan within a month.
Boris Johnson announced in July that the government would make it compulsory for nightclubs and other crowded indoor venues to ensure customers have been fully vaccinated before allowing them entry. No details have yet been published, prompting speculation the plan would be ditched in the face of a backlash from conservative backbenchers and business groups. But the Prime Minister's official spokesman said on Tuesday there was no change in the policy. We set out broadly our intention to require vaccination for nightclubs and some other settings, including camps. We will be coming forward in the coming weeks with a barbed wire for you, he said.
As well as helping to protect clubbers from the virus, the move is aimed at boosting vaccine uptake. Is that really? Yes, that is exactly what it's all about. But the research to be published in the Lancet journal eClinical Medicine this month suggests it could be counterproductive amongst the most hard-to-reach groups. The survey was carried out in April, when most people were either unvaccinated or received only one dose of a vaccine. It suggested the groups that are less likely to get vaccinated included the young, non-white ethnicities and non-English speakers. Also, view vaccine passports less positively. I wonder why that is.
This creates a risk of creating a divided society wherein the majority are relatively secure, but there remain pockets of lower vaccination where outbreaks can still occur, the authors wrote in the paper, which is currently in preprint form. The analysis involved over 16,000 people, of whom 14,500 had not yet had both vaccine doses. In this group, the vast majority, over 87%, indicated their decision on being jabbed would not be affected by the introduction of passports. However, of the remaining 12%, about 2/3 suggested they would be less likely to get vaccinated if passports were introduced, while the rest said they would be more inclined. I am one of the people who will absolutely not be getting vaccinated if they introduce vaccine passports, even though I've always said I am open to it once the long-term studies are in. Vaccine passports were viewed less negatively by this group if they were only required for international travel rather than domestic use.
The lead author, Dr. Alex de Figueiredo.
Yeah, you don't need that there, mate. Stop showing off.
Yeah, from the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, said these percentages become significant when scaled up to the whole population. Younger age groups, black British ethnicities compared with white people, and non-English speakers were more likely to express a lower inclination to get vaccinated if passports were introduced. While these groups comprise a relatively small proportion of the UK population, they cluster geographically and tend to be less inclined to get vaccinated in the first place.
Evidence that imposing vaccine passports could have the reverse behavioral effect from that intended by ministers will strengthen the hand of Tory backbenchers determined to see off the plan if it comes to a vote in the House of Commons.
Labour has said fuck all. They've expressed concerns. Oh, that's nice of you, kid. Well done,
They're not
mate.
harsh enough, probably.
Suggesting a system that included COVID testing as an alternative to vaccination would be a better approach, since fully jabbed individuals can still catch and pass on the virus.
Research into the behavioral effects of the vaccine passport suggests the scheme triggers social division. Really? Said Professor John Blatantly Statement of the Obvious, a participant in the SAGE subcommittee advising on behavioral science, who was speaking in a personal capacity and not involved in the survey. I would not like to lose my cushy job, and I would certainly not like to offend anyone who has an agenda. But not only would vaccine passports create exclusion, that exclusion would be structured by existing inequalities. You only need to look at the data on who isn't yet vaccinated to understand this. The young, the poor, and ethnic minorities are going to be excluded.
The negative impact of vaccine passports, once the underlying intention to get jabbed was accounted for in the survey, was disproportionately found in males and highly educated people. It's unclear why that is, said De Figueiredo. The study... Look, mate, I'm doing a little bit of fucking lingo here. Stop imposing on me, on my flow. Anyway, let's get rid of that, right? Because I think it's a good article, this, actually. Yeah. Guardian, in good journalism shocker, right? Do you know what? There was a very, very interesting case. Have you ever heard of Boardmasters?
No.
So Boardmasters is a festival in Cornwall. Now,
explains why I've never heard of it.
Right.
Why?
But here's the thing. So they had vax passports to get in. Everybody was checked to see if they were double jabbed.
Do you really need a vaccine passport to get together at a festival and shag your cousin?
Yeah, well, apparently you do. But here's the interesting thing. And you know, as a result of that festival, something like an estimated 4,600 COVID infections happened.
Well, even though they're saying that, we don't know.
Yeah, but it's an estimated, right?
Yeah.
And actually sparked a COVID surge in Cornwall. And if Cornwall was a country, which they want it to be, but it shouldn't be, right? It would be on the red list, okay? But that was at a festival which was in the open air and had vaccine passports.
But Francis, you've got to remember, when we talk about these estimates, we have seen repeatedly over the last 18 months that what we're being told about the estimates and what then turns out to be true later down the line are often very different things. So I'm, on the surface at least, not persuaded by this at all.
No. Yeah, of course. But my point is that vaccine passports didn't protect people.
That's also part of it, right?
Yeah.
I'm very skeptical now about any figures that come out from all these people who are estimating shit, or even who claim to be measuring it, because later on it's revised. A lot of it, like, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't get talked about, and I don't want to bore everyone to death again. We're talking about COVID endlessly. I just think it's a ridiculous idea. It's counterproductive. It's deeply, deeply illiberal, and it just needs to be opposed to. If you haven't yet written to your MP, please do. I will certainly be doing that for the third time.
Are we talking about the Labour Party again?
Well, I happen to live in a nice area, so my MP is a Tory.
Yeah, good. Anyway, next. Mr. Foster, please read the top row. KLAEFZ.
Well done, mate. Thanks, Icky Ike. George with a fiver.
Pizza. Big surprise. In the Newsom recall election, Californian government say if you're that's what I said.
You said government.
Yeah, California governor. Sorry. Yeah. Say if you're worried about COVID, you get to vote by mail. Not even trying to hide it now.
Well, I think everyone should vote by mail for Larry Elder. That's what I would do.
Yeah, we'll see.
Thanks, George.
Next.
James Rasson.
Burger. Doctors have allegedly perplexing handwriting. However, extraordinary pharmaceutical intellectuality, counterbalancing indecipherability, supersedes intercommunications, incomprehensibleness.
The burger works. It's the burger effect, mate.
It is, mate.
You know what, Francis? I've realized.
What?
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to order what's your favorite type of burger?
Bacon and cheese.
Bacon and cheese. So we're going to have the best bacon and cheese burger in London, and Anton is going to order it,
Yeah.
and he's going to
Do you realise that's offensive to him though?
No.
Because he's a vegetarian.
That's
So
what,
he'll see it and he'll start crying.
not
and run
after
away.
what I put in our pasta tonight. He's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll have the bacon and whatever cheeseburger sitting right there. And if you read the super chats correctly, if you get a 95% pass rate on the super chats, you get to eat it. And if you don't, I'm going to eat it in front of you and you're not going to get any.
That's cruel.
But it works. Cruelty works, mate.
No.
What do you mean? For the first 2 years of our show, you got brutally fat shamed by the audience and by me.
Yeah.
And you lost weight.
Yeah.
And then I let up. I stopped fat shaming you when you stopped being a fat cunt. And
what happened?
No, you put some weight back on.
No, it's because I did my fucking back in, mate.
Nah, I think it's the lack of fat shaming, mate.
Anyway, disgusting.
Sarah Bigatrous Bernard with a 179 says, "Did you use the Putin tea bags I sent?" Yes, I think we've cracked open a couple.
We have cracked open the old Putinios.
Yes, we have. Thank you very much for that, Sarah. And Steve York says, "I joined Twitter yesterday and am in need of followers." I mean, you are very problematic, Steve York.
Yeah.
So he's funny though, so probably worth following. Give him a follow.
Yeah.
Or don't, whatever.
Whatever you want to do.
It's a free country, mate.
Yeah. Burger. Passports are racist.
Correct.
Next.
There's quite a lot of burgers in the chat at the
Yeah,
moment,
nice.
mate. Yeah. You only get to have them if you read the rest of the super chats, right?
My Jeff, if Elder wins, I'll laugh for at least a week. The Hollywood wokerati will have an absolute meltdown.
Yeah. Can you imagine if a black Republican were to win in California? I mean, their brains would literally fall out.
Yeah. Next.
I would love that.
Take a 610. I thought even the vaccinated can get it. I thought even the vaccinated can get it and spread it. So why would passports still be in discussion, you government cunts?
Correct, take a 610. Well said, well put, and you're absolutely right. Of course you are, mate.
Kick the spike. A few spotlights today have said they won't accept submissions or audition any actors unless they have been vaccinated and could prove it.
I have a friend who is an agent for actors, and he was telling me the same thing. He's not a big fan of them, obviously. The authoritarians are there and they love it. And it's not just going to be the government, it's also corporations. That's why I think realistically, obviously in acting it's going to be difficult, but certainly in shops and restaurants and stuff, I'm not going to be supporting with my money any institution or organization that goes along with this or implements vaccine passports. I just think it's wrong, and I think it's immoral, and I think it's illiberal. And I'm a very liberal, Francis. Very.
Next.
Thanks, Keith the Spike.
FM. FF, stop butchering Portuguese names. Stick with what you know. No!
He can't, because that's very little.
Yeah, right. Okay. Number one. Number two, I'll say it any way I want. All right? Brexit means Brexit.
Rez and Pez have sent us another 100 quid. And by the nature of this PayPal, I can tell the Pez, which is the husband in that relationship, hasn't had anything to do with it, because it's Rez with 100 quid says, "I'll fight Zuby naked. I'm having a Mr. Winter moment." Well, whatever you dream about, Rez, we will make it happen. Perhaps we should do a live show with Zuby, mate.
Yeah.
Get Rez in the front row. We'll get rid of Pez.
Yeah.
We'll just knock him off. Chill Pez. Let's get some Zubies in the chat. Let's get some big black arms in the chat, some biceps in the chat for the lovely Rez. Thank you for the 100 quid and for keeping the show going. We really appreciate it. But Francis, should we not talk about Big Joe Rogan?
Let's talk about Big Joey. He's a good man, Joey. We love you. We hope that you are on the mend. But let's see what the people have been saying. Joe Rogan has COVID. Podcast host and vaccine. He's not a vaccine critic.
You fucking retards.
Yeah, but this is what they do. This is what all mainstream media outlets do. The moment you have any kind of nuanced opinion or position on this particular issue, you're a vaccine critic. It's just really fucking tedious.
Indeed. But anyway, he is in recovery.
Good man.
So Joe Rogan, the host of Spotify's most popular podcast and a vaccine critic, which he's not, has announced that he's recovering from COVID-19 after medical treatment. The commentator who caused controversy this year by having an opinion about COVID, and he didn't discourage anyone. He said you might not need it if you're young and healthy, which is, by the way, fucking right, from getting inoculated, said that he was feeling better, but would have to postpone his next show. Rogan, 54, said he began feeling very wary and run down with a headache after he returned from a series of shows in Florida, where the virus is rampant.
He claimed that he had quarantined himself from his family after taking a test which returned a positive result. There we go. Best of times. Bit insensitive. Throughout the night, I got fevers, sweats, and I knew what was going on, he said in a video on the gram. We immediately threw the kitchen sink at it, all kinds of meds. A wonderful, heartfelt thank you to modern medicine for pulling me out of this so quickly and easily. Sounds like an anti-vaxxer.
It is unclear whether Rogan, a stand-up comedian turned media mogul with millions of listeners, has been vaccinated.
I'm a media mogul.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
I am.
I mean, to be honest with you, mate, if you're a media mogul, all the media moguls are going to need a new name, a new label.
Yeah, I am, mate. I'm more powerful than all of them.
Yeah?
They fear me.
Mate, they only fear you if you're in the same restaurant and they've got better food. Anyway, among the many medications Rogan said he had used to combat the illness was ivermectin, a drug used to deworm horses. The Food and Drug Administration has warned COVID patients against taking the drug, which has repeatedly proven ineffective in their clinical trials. However, it is a hotly debated subject in the US on Facebook, Reddit, and among some conservative talk show hosts.
Sunday sucked, Rogan said. However, by the time he made yesterday's video, he said,
I'm not seeing that stripper anymore.
Using an expletive that he was feeling pretty
Come
good.
on, mate.
Yeah.
Stripper named Sunday. Great joke.
Yeah, it's all right. No, because
from the man who randomly inserts the word fisting into any conversation.
But that's
You're
funny.
going to give me a comedic critique.
Yes, fisting's funny. It just is.
Okay. Yeah, that's how you know. That's how I know you've never experienced it, mate. Anyway,
other medications he claims to have taken include monoclonal antibodies, which have been shown to protect high-risk COVID patients from severe illness, and prednisone, a steroid widely accepted as an effective treatment. Trump was treated with monoclonal antibodies when he fell ill as president last year.
That's it. Well, there you go. And of course, the reaction from liberal left-wing Twitter has been one of universal well-wishing for Joe Rogan. Absolutely nobody, none of them said that they're glad that he's got COVID because he's quote-unquote an anti-vaxxer. None of them were happy that he's got an illness that could harm him. None of them were delighted about that or posting that all over Twitter or anything like that, were they, Francis?
No, absolutely they weren't. They weren't rejoicing the fact that a human being was ill. They didn't just jump up and down. Comedians weren't celebrating it. It's almost like they're jealous.
Yeah, they weren't celebrating it at all. Didn't say anything about how happy they are. And it's good to see everyone, getting behind Big Joey in that way, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. That's what I love about comedians. So, they're not jealous.
No, not at all.
Of a man who's more talented and has got a far bigger audience than they can ever dream of.
Indeed. Now get us on your show, Joey.
Yeah, come on, Joey. We'll bring some numbers and we can talk. We'll talk about the big topics. We'll talk about, about comedy, freedom of speech, and I'll explain to you, man to man, what a mingy little slag is.
Indeed. But Francis, let's catch up on any super chats. By the way, guys, 10 minutes left before I rush off to GB News, my final one this week. Indeed. It obviously won't be the same without me.
No, I'm booing GB News. We're celebrating you leaving.
Why are you booing GB News?
Why am I booing GB News?
Yeah, what's wrong with it?
No. It's a competitor, mate. We don't like it.
Nah, they can't compete with us. Despite Anton's every attempt to sabotage the show, we still have better production values than GB News.
And better guess.
And better. I suppose you're insulting both of us in that, so that's okay. Anyway, I'll be, it's my last one this month. I am going to be taking the rest of the month off because I want to deliver more bigotry to you guys. And also, I need to work on my book, and the deadline is at the end of the month, and I'm behind. So yeah, I'll be taking the rest of the month off and we'll see where we go from there. But tonight I am heading off. And what that means is if you want to talk about fisting, food, birds and pedos, right? Francis, 4 specialist subjects.
Yeah.
We've got 1,600 bigots watching. Let's get to, let's say 800 likes.
Yeah, let's get to 800 likes. If not, then I'm fucking off and I'm going to have a chow mein. And I'm going to work on Anton having a relapse and becoming a real man again by eating meat.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Thanks, Benevolent Bloody Bartos. It's a good point. Agabo Zabu. Reminder that Japan suspended vax with magnetic metal. Which one is the one? I can't remember. I don't know.
Thanks, Agabazabu, for that reminder
Yep.
of something we didn't know in the first
Yep.
place.
Gary
It's
Christensen.
Gary Christensen.
Not only is California allowing vote by mail, they send ballots to every single registered voter. I already voted for Elder 3 times just to offset the probable fraud.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Next.
Oh, dear. Thanks, Gary. Roisin with a 15 quid says, just back from Canada, had lunch with my brother's 2 aunts, and they think that Biden has his full senses and is fantastic. They see no content of him forgetting his words and stumbling, etc., but think that we are brainwashed. Well, there you go. The mainstream media won't show that stuff because they're on his side.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Next.
Simple as that.
Icky Ike. Fish and chips for FF if he nails it. Yeah,
there we go. He's not a fan of fish and chips, really.
No, I don't.
Only the good ones.
Yeah.
She sells seashells by the seashore. The shells she sells are seashells, I'm sure. So if she sells seashells on the seashore, then I'm sure she sells seashore cells. Fucked it up at the end. No fish and chips for me either. Anton, do you want to have a go? No.
Next.
Thanks, Icky Ike.
Jay Savage. Prednisone is an immunosuppressant.
Oh, you don't want that. Thanks, Jay Savage. Didn't know that. Well, anyway, Big Joey's fine now. Bashabi says, cough on us, Joe. I'm sure he will. Thanks, Bashabi.
Anton versus Rogan.
Anton, you're taller than Rogan, aren't you?
I think so. Just about.
Anton,
just about.
do you think you could take him in a fight?
No.
Definitely not. Rogan is like a high-level martial artist.
But Anton is over 20 years younger than him.
So what?
You don't think that would give him a slight physical advantage?
No.
Come on, Anton. You got to back yourself, mate. Come on.
What do you mean? He get his ass kicked by Joe.
What about it, Joe? We'll do it for charity, right? What we do is we're going to do it for charity.
You're just going to choke out a random English guy.
Yeah.
Because his friends nominated him for it.
Yeah, it's Anton versus Joe. All proceeds go to me buying a flat, right? That's what we're going to do. Anton, come on. That's a good
I mean,
cause.
that is charity.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think, Anton?
That is a form of charity. I don't...
Sorry?
You have weapons?
Yeah, well...
Yeah, I don't think we're going to raise money for Francis to buy a flat by Joe just hunting you with a bow around the flat, mate.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the way it should be done.
How many enemies have you got back in Liverpool, Anton, who pay for this? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you've slept with a few ladies who might have had a boyfriend.
Let's move on.
Let's move on. He says, Hannah with the 2 quid says, who would you rather dine with, FF or KK, and why? Let's get some suggestions and answers to that question in the chat. I would actually quite like to know. Hannah, thank you for the 2 quid. It's a good question.
Next. George, anyone with a nuanced opinion will get smeared as anti-vax. I wouldn't wish COVID on anyone. Explosive diarrhea? No, that's a different matter. 2 aren't mutually exclusive. You can't have.
You can have both. Thanks, George.
Next. Sebastian Booth, tell us more about your book, KK. Go for it.
Book is called An Immigrant's Love Letter to the West. It will be coming out at some point next year. What's with the gimpy little smile? Go on. Do the shit joke. Go on.
No, I was just going to say it's a way to to use it's a way to use Russian to pick up birds, isn't it?
My book,
yeah,
is a way to use Russian to pick up birds.
Yeah.
My book's in English, you prick.
No, but it is. That's what it's about. The Russian way to pick up women. I've read it.
I mean, if you have read it, you clearly read the words in the wrong order, which wouldn't surprise me, given your fucking backstory and background. Thanks, Sebastian. Appreciate it. I'll keep you posted on it. Obviously, when it comes out, you'll be the first to know. Roman Kalik with the 30-somethings.
Yeah, what are they? Is that even on planet Earth? Anyway, good to see that we've got alien fans. The Rogan COVID treatment news is focused on tribalist nonsense first. Proper details a distant second, per usual. Marginally better than the regular filler articles, i.e. Twitter angry at random dude.
Correct, Roman. Thank you very much.
Next. Icky Ike. Old guys are tougher fighters. They feel no pity.
Very good. Westfield with a $10 says Florida Governor DeSantis publicized monoclonals and deaths in Florida went from 200 a day to now about 20 a day. They work. Doesn't surprise me. I mean, even that article that we read seemed to accept that. Yeah, thanks. Anton, do we have any responses to the question about the dinner? Agabazabi says, told you last episode, you said you'd look into it. 1.6 million vaxxers. Yeah, we often say we'll look into it and then we forget because we have tons of shit to do, unfortunately. We're working on reducing our workloads by hiring more people, which is why those of you who are joining locals and supporting us on there make that possible. We are looking at getting someone to help us with lots of different things so that we can concentrate on making the best bigotry content that we possibly can. Agaba, thank you for the €2.
Next.
KK probably, at least he could read the menu. Very good.
FF, I love his accents. There you go. Classic.
I think you're not really thinking about it. Well, the oddbot has the right idea. Says KK, my food would be safer. Exactly. When Francis is in a restaurant, he's not doing accents. He's doing the menu.
Exactly. When you came, I'd rather have dinner with the bleeder. Fuck off.
KK. There was a lot of FFs though. Paul MacArthur, thank you. Louise FF, there you go.
Birds love it.
FF because KK wouldn't split the bill.
Correct. Oh.
I normally pay for everything, mate.
Incorrect. Fake news.
KK, he's been trained by the Spetsnaz. No, not really, mate.
Who are the Spetsnaz?
The Russian Special Services.
Nice. Bet they're nice people.
They're lovely people.
FF would eat all the food.
True.
Thank you. Anyway, have we got any more super chats? Snowden Bleep. Get Jonathan Haidt on. He is Mr. Heterodoxy himself.
Indeed, Jonathan Haidt said that he would gladly come on the show, but he's busy finishing off a book or some kind of project, so it'll be early next year when we can hopefully get him on. Thank you very much, Snowden Bleep. Basha B with a 449. Is Poon Poon writing the foreword to my book? I think that'd be a great...
Yeah.
Shall I dedicate my book to Poon Poon?
Yeah, dedicate. She'd love that. And make sure it's in her real name as well.
I will do. I'll do that.
Yeah, she would absolutely adore that.
I think my wife might be a bit upset that it's not dedicated to her. But, you know, Poon Poon has done more to clarify my thoughts about how stupid left-wing people are. She's not actually stupid. She's quite smart, which makes it difficult to understand why she's left-wing. Anyway.
Yeah. Next.
That's it. Well, guys, I'm going to go in a minute. Francis... do you have any final words before I leave you to talk about pedos and slags?
Yeah, go on then. What are your final words?
Did you hear what I just said?
No, wasn't listening.
I said, do you have any final words before I go?
Oh, yeah, goodbye.
We are 43 likes away, by the way, from you carrying on with the show, guys. So make sure you smash that like button. Otherwise, you don't get to listen to Francis blabber on pointlessly about stuff no one cares about.
Yeah. KK for dinner, I would take him to Maze.
What's Maze?
Maze is a very posh restaurant in central London.
Sebastian, sounds good. Sign me up, my friend.
Of course he would. His name's Sebastian.
Yeah.
Listen to him.
Yeah. But why is he only giving us a $5? That's like that's like 0.00001% of his inheritance.
Exactly. I bet you knew a few Sebastians in Liverpool, didn't you, Anton?
Roman Kalik says, Nis, new Israeli shekel. Finally, what we've been asking for, some shekels. Yeah. Let's get some shekels in the chat. No idea what they look like, but thank you very much for that. And Melina says 40 more likes. Let's go. Well, how about this? I'm going to go. Francis, we're going to do a little transition. Francis is going to transition to someone who's hosting the show on his own, right? And then after that, see how many likes you get. I will see you tomorrow for Raw again, 7 p.m. Take care. Have a good one. And by the way, if you tune into Dan Wootton's show, it's hosted by Mark Dolan. He's a very funny man. I'll be on there with the wonderful Andrew Doyle and Rebecca Reed.
Give Doyley my love. Give Rebecca my love. But above all, give Doyley my love. And you know he doesn't know who Rihanna is. I think you should play some Rihanna and ask him to dance in his blazer.
Yeah, Andrew. I do think Andrew's a good dancer, mate.
I think he's a cracking dancer. I think he's great.
I certainly paid to see it anyway. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, take care. See you soon. Have a great one. I will be with you back tomorrow. Enjoy a bit of FF on his lonesome.
Perfect. Hey, KK, what are you doing on October the 5th?
I'm planning global conspiracy with Uncle Vlad to bring Jeremy Corbyn back to power. When Comrade Corbyn enters number 10, Russia's global domination will be complete.
Okay, mate. Well, you're going to need to cancel that meeting because we've got some exciting news to announce.
Has Keir Starmer discovered some coherent policies?
Don't be ridiculous. The important news is TRIGGERnometry is coming live to the Leicester Square Theatre in London on October the 5th. We have one of our all-time favourite guests, Andrew Doyle, joining us to discuss the insanity of the past 18 months. Tickets are selling rapidly. Make sure you don't miss out.
We have to cancel Jeremy for Prime Minister meeting. Yes, I know real communism hasn't been tried, but real Jeremy has, and now we're all getting f***ed and by Bojo the Clown. It's going to be a great show, it's going to be interesting and funny, and if you want to grab a ticket, then go to LeicesterSquareTheatre.com, call the booking line on 0207-734-2222, or just copy the link below, and we'll see you there.
There we go. Welcome to the best part of the entire Raw show. We got rid of the dead wood. It's just me and Anton now. This is going to be Raw at its very, very, very best. No, you see, we've been sabotaged by a Russian mole. But no, we're going to have a great old time together. By the way, we have precisely 4 tickets left for that October show with Andrew the Doily Doyle. If you want, there's only 4 tickets left, so they're going to be gone very quickly. Come along, come and watch the show, and we'll go and have a burger afterwards. But we've got loads to talk about in this upcoming half hour. Stop whispering to Anton. He's my producer, not yours anymore. You're fired, mate. You've betrayed us. You've betrayed us for the enemy, right? So it's just me and him. Don't touch Anton. He's mine. Now, Anton, we've got lots to talk about. But before we do that, there's an article I really want to talk about because it's a subject very, very close to my heart. And it's all to do with the theatre, darling. That's right. It's somebody who I would actually love to have on the show. We asked him on, but he was being a bit of an MLS, and I don't think he's very keen to come on. However, he's now come out and he's given a little lover. He's a little dig in the ribs. And there he is, looking a little bit like Richard Ashcroft from The Verve. Don't you agree? Doesn't he? Anyway, it looks quite cool there. Anyway, it says, in the current theatrical climate, Tom Stoppard would never break through. He's our greatest playwright, but his intellectual individualism and politics make him unfashionable. This is from Ben Lawrence. Tom Stoppard is the greatest playwright of the past 50 years. In Arcadia, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead. Travesties, jumpers, and rock and roll, he has dazzled us with his wit and erudition, but also entertained us. More often than not, a night out with Stoppard is a riot. Yet it's no surprise that the man who has done more than any other to push the boundaries of late 20th century theatre is loathed by certain sections of an industry he has helped to sustain. In an interview with Alan Yentob this week, he said he was at odds with the theatrical left and resented left-leaning playwrights pissing on the country, which gave young Czech refugee Thomas Straussler a home. Most vehement in his dislike was Bill Gaskell, former artistic director of the Royal Court, who once summed up his commissioning policy thus: never put on a play by Stoppard. Indeed, so deep-rooted was Gaskell's rancour that at the court's 50th anniversary in 2006, he noisily withdrew one of his own works when it transpired that Stoppard's latest play, Rock and Roll, was to be staged at Sloane Square. There are several reasons why Stoppard has remained a theatrical outsider. He was not part of a privileged elite, keen to prove their right on credentials in spite of their pucker educations. When Stoppard first broke through in the mid-60s with Rosencrantz, there were those who noted, while referring to him as too clever by half, that he had never been to university. He started out as a journalist with the Western Daily Press. Creatively, there was no one else like him. Can you scroll up, please, Anton, because I couldn't read the top of that. There is nobody else like him. What other writer has taken in quantum physics, romantic poetry, linguistics, the Victorian music hall, dadaism, determinism, free will, Christianity, and Agatha Christie during the course of their careers? He has an intellectual curiosity often wrapped up in an unfashionably devotional approach to literature, which means he has never been susceptible to the cult of ideology. Indeed, Stoppard's attachment to individualism, to entertainment, has meant that he has actually ended up being far more radical and experimental than many of his peers, such as Howard Breton and David Edgar. Only Carol Churchill, still a force of dissent and imagination in British theatre at the age of 82, has the same degree of dramatic chutzpah. One also wonders whether professional jealousy has crept in. While many continue to fight the good fight in the subsidised sector, but rarely got a West End transfer, Stoppard's frequent brilliance allowed him to be one of the few modern playwrights afforded a place in the commercial market. His popularity must still rankle. Scroll down, please. Mainly, though, the cause for disdain is political. Stoppard is conservative with a small c, and often this manifests itself in his patriotism, the affection and gratitude of a refugee for the country that gave him shelter. There is a telling moment in the Imagine documentary on BBC One next Thursday when Yed Tob rather smirkingly paraphrases Cecil Rhodes, saying that anyone would be proud to be British. Stoppard says without flickering, "I'll give you the quote better than that. To be born an Englishman is to have won first prize in the lottery of life." It was not an ironical statement, and I saw nothing to laugh or smile at. For Stoppard, one thing is patently clear: British contempt for nationhood is the luxury of a liberal elite. I wonder if there is also a degree of irritation from the theatrical left because Stoppard has politically been vindicated by history. His criticism of Soviet-style communism was out of step with his contemporaries' adoration of it. But their ideologies proved to have been built on sand as those who dwelled behind the Iron Curtain began to critique their previous lives when the wall fell. Suddenly, once lauded plays such as David Hare and Howard Brenton's Fleet Street satire Pravda became museum pieces while Stoppard's endured. I did not enjoy his most recent Leopoldstadt, but that perhaps is because I felt that in its acutely personal story, based on Stoppard's ancestors amongst the Jewish community of Vienna, Stoppard had understandably been too shackled by a sense of duty. The devil-may-care dazzlement was in abeyance. Okay, I think we've read enough of that. The reason I picked this story out is to talk to you about the problem that we have within the liberal arts, whether it's in theatre, whether it's in film, whether it's in publishing, whether it's comedy, where quite simply it is deemed beyond the pale to have political viewpoints or simply views that are not within the liberal left. If you are not on the liberal left, even if you may be, but you choose to criticize some of their more outlandish ideas and ideologies, you simply will not be accepted within the establishment. Your progression will be stunted as a result. You'll be looked over, you'll be passed over. So quite reasonably, there is going to be a lot of stand-up comedians, actors, directors, writers, etc., who will simply shut their mouth because they fear, quite rightly, that it will stop them from progressing. And what that means is that the art that will be created will be of a similar vein. Again and again and again, you will have the same ideas, the same thought process, the same stories repeated to you. And what will happen is that as a result of that, the entire artistic firmament, the process and the industry itself will die. And that is really tragic and really sad. Because as we all know, you shouldn't judge the artist by the person they are or the political viewpoints they have. You should judge them on the art that they create. Even if you disagree with them. Someone could be an outright Marxist, someone which I would heartily disagree with. Someone could have deeply unpleasant views when it comes to other political viewpoints. But if the art that they create is beautiful and strikes a chord with people, then we should platform it. This idea that we somehow should judge the art by the artist, I believe, is utterly wrong, childish. And what that means is that the art form will become poorer, and as a result, we will become poorer. Those people who love books, films, comedy, etc., etc., etc. And I'm really glad that Tom Stoppard is speaking out. He's widely regarded as Britain's greatest playwright, or greatest modern playwright, I should say. And by doing this, in the late stage of his career, he's actually helping others to stand up and to take a stand. Because if not, then we're going to be much, much poorer as a result. Anyway, let's get some super chats in, Anton. What are people saying? We've got a bit fucking cultural there. Don't worry about it. We'll be back to talking about birds. CCC with a 50 Swedish krona. Get Mark Brolin on. His interview, among others, Jonathan Haidt and Eric Kaufman, in his new book, Healing Broken Democracies. Well, we'll have a look at it, right? Thank you very much. Next, Ian Inkster. Please don't call such people liberals. No, that's true. You're right. I always use the American sense of the word liberal when the reality is they should be called cunts. No, I'm joking. They should be called progressives. Absolutely. You're right, Ian. Thank you for pointing that out. The problem is I consume a lot of American content, and as a result of that, I tend to then use words in an American context. Next, Danny Moore. What a load of old bollocks. KK has gone to review a burger. Of course he has. You can't trust him because he's a Russian. Thank you very much. Next. Okay, that is it. Lovely stuff. Let's do a bit of Retalk, guys. We are being sponsored by Retalk for this Raw show. It is a platform for the centre, for the centre and the centre right. If you want a less mingy version of Reddit, these are the people for you. Go on there. You can have a chat about anything you want, about politics, about life, about things that are not particularly serious. Whatever you want, you can find at Retalk. So let's scroll down, Anton, and let's see what Retalk has. What's a subtle sign that someone isn't a good person? Anton, before we start, what do you think that is?
I think there's some people, isn't there, that you come away from it and interaction with them and you feel worse.
Yeah, but you say that about me, mate.
That's what I was getting at.
Despicable. Let's say what people are saying on there. And guys, you can join in, send a message or whatever it is. They only care about you when they need something from you. That's a good one. Let's scroll down. They only deign to speak with you when they need something from you. Yep. How they talk about someone when they aren't around. How they treat animals. There you go. Anton is vigorously nodding his head. Let's see. Let's scroll down. They do seem to know things we can't see. I do believe that person can't spell believe. Look, not everyone's going to be a good person. Dirty fingernails. That's interesting. Poor personal hygiene. Would you agree with that, Anton? Okay. Watch them treat someone under them. Look if they treat someone under their authority with respect and compassion, or if they treat them like a dictator. It's another good point. Let's scroll down. If they never take responsibility for anything, absolutely. If something is always their fault. Hitler hair. There is nothing wrong with having a Hitler haircut, Andy P. What's your fucking language, son? Next. Yeah, how they treat animals is the one. Well, that's from a cow, so yeah. Let's see. Doesn't put their litter on the... Do you know what, right? Nothing brings out the inner conservative in me than when someone just litters. It just makes me fucking blood boil. Absolutely. 2 first names. Could be. Right. Scroll down. Anything else? Assumes there. Complains on a cell phone loudly, stating the same crap repeatedly in a public place where others must sit and listen to them. Example, blah, blah, blah. So there you go. So, Anton, thank you very much for that. Long as it ain't the tash. Right? Retalk's absolutely brilliant. Go and check it out. Talk to like-minded people. Have a bit of a natter about anything that you want, whether it's politics or something a little bit more off the beaten track. Fantastic stuff. Have we got any super chats, Anton? Kick the spike. Stoppard is not the only controversial playwright to disappear. Most young actors have never heard of the great Stephen Burkoff. In my day, he was a god. I didn't realise that. Kick the spike. Did they not know Burkoff? Like when I was doing theatre, Burkoff was seen as a god. We studied Stephen Burkoff, you know, and yeah, absolutely. They got rid of Burkoff. That's a tragedy if so. Anyway, thank you very much. Sebastian Booth. I love Tom Stoppard. I've read a lot of his stuff. By the way, Just because I'm called Sebastian doesn't mean I'm rich. Pull the other one, son. We know your game. Up you. No, we know, Sebastian. Yeah, just a joke, mate. Yeah, and glad to see that you love Stoppard. I'm going to be honest with you. Not my favourite playwright by a long shot, Tom Stoppard. But I admire him for standing up. I admire him for being principled. I admire him for saying his views. Who's my favourite playwright? Probably Arthur Miller, mate. Arthur Miller was an incredible playwright and another man of principle because he stood up against McCarthyism in the 1950s when people on the left and particularly on the hard left were getting purged in Hollywood. So, another principled man. Yeah, married to Marilyn Monroe. Legend. Next. Okay, so let's talk. We've got loads to talk about, Anton. Let's talk about, what can we talk about? So much. Bring one up, please, mate, and let's see what there is. Let's see what we've got to talk about. Let's talk about number 9, please. Number 9, which is goldsmiths. So, university opens up. Can you scroll down, please, mate? Scroll up, please, so I can just see it. That Goldsmith considers removing troubling Lord Nelson and Sir Francis Drake statues. Universities opens up consultation on whether to remove monuments of maritime heroes over alleged slave trade links. Goldsmiths University. What a surprise! Goldsmiths, never thought that, is considering removing troubling statues of Sir Francis Drake and Lord Nelson following student complaints. The South London University has launched a public consultation examining whether the 115-year-old monuments should be permanently removed from one of their buildings. A statue of the 17th century Admiral Robert Blake, who served as a naval commander under Oliver Cromwell, may also be removed along with an anonymous naval figure. Absolutely, because he was probably involved in some dodgy shit as well. Don't get rid of just the people involved in slavery. Also get rid of the anonymous ones. Because look, if they want to hide their identity, they're probably pedos, let's be fair. The 4 statues stand on the facade of the Grade 2 listed Deptford Town Hall, which the uni acquired in 1998. Their removal has been demanded by the student group Goldsmiths Anti-Racist Action, who occupied the town hall over the issue for 137 days. Do some fucking studying, you mingy little slags. Academics at the university have now said that it's vital that any decision on the future of the statues reflect the wishes of the local community. Respondents to the consultation will be asked if they would like the statues to be retained, removed, or for historical context explainers to be added. Let's scroll down. University officials have also asked for the statues to be included in the Commission for Diversity in the Public Realm, currently overseen by Sadiq Khan, the Mayor of London. Hey, Sadiq, mate, how about you do something about knife crime, mate? How about you do something about that? How about you do something to protect the youth of this city instead of dealing with issues like statues, which a tiny fringe minority of people care about? Most people don't care about, but a lot of people, mate, do care about their children, especially their boys, being kept safe. How about you do that, mate? While Sir Francis Drake's exploit as a naval commander against the Spanish have been celebrated by the history books, his early years as a slave trader along the west coast of Africa have come under recent scrutiny. Earlier this month, councillors in his hometown of Tavistock, Devon, revealed that a new information panel highlighting his horrific slave trading actions will adorn a 10-foot-high bronze statue of the seafarer. This is despite 89 residents objecting to the council's proposal with only 1 letter of support. Now, I think we can get rid of this because, look, here's the thing. When it comes to the issue, I'm not one of those people who believes that once a statue is up, it should be there for all time. Look, if the local residents want it taken down and you put it to a democratic vote and the majority say they want it taken down, then take the thing down. I'm not particularly attached to statues. What I do not like is people intimidating others, bullying them, demanding, heckling, and then getting it taken down. That's not the way it should work. Put it to a democratic vote of the local residents. If the majority of local residents who vote believe that it should stay up, let it stay up. If they believe that it should be taken down, get it taken down. It really is that simple. But you cannot have a tiny fringe proportion of people intimidating others, basically getting them and harassing them into making a decision. That's not how any form of decision should be made. So there we go. But we've also got some paid paleos coming through, and I will deal with them in a second. Westfield 90. Just wanted to hear you say monoclonal, monoclonal, monoclonal. Thanks, Westfield. Really appreciate it, mate. Anton, have we got anything else? Claire de Lune fan. Hollywood was taken over by commies anyway. Well, it has been now, mate. So lots to celebrate. Tamsin sent £2. Thank you very much, Tamsin. Arguably, we don't have a housing shortage in the UK. We have a shortage of jobs in the towns with the empty houses, especially in Wales and the north. Well, that's a very, very good point, Tamsin, because there are a lot of houses and there's lots of accommodation in these types of towns which don't have industry, which means that people can't live there and so on and so forth. But one of the bright sparks, or one of the bright, not bright sparks, but one of the bright points of COVID, one of the few bright points of COVID, is that actually maybe we're going to be less dependent on cities. Maybe a lot of people aren't going to want to live in cities. Maybe there's going to be a lot of people going to look at a city like London and think to themselves, hang on a second, what's the point of living in London? The quality of life is terrible. I'm going to spend all my money on rent. Actually, I could live somewhere outside of London, traveling for 1 or 2 days a week, and actually that's a much better way to live. And that would be a much better way for these people to live. It would reinvigorate these communities. It would mean that these communities get fresh life injected into them, fresh money. It would help to regenerate them. So maybe it might be that there is a bright spark. Well, not a bright spark. I keep saying bright spark. I don't know why I say it. Some good points to the COVID pandemic. And this might be one of them. It might not. We might all end up being cramped into a 9-person house share like before. But hopefully, we might see that this particular trend has changed. Anyway, Anton, we've got time to talk about a few more things. So let's talk about 16. We're going to talk about 16. We're going to talk about education because you might not know this, but in the UK, the top A-level grade is A star. But top A-level exam pupils could be giving you A star star. That's right. And in 2 years' time, it'll be A star star star. And in 3 years' time, it'll be A star 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 star. And then it will go on until it will just be A star recurring. There we go. A new grade of A star star could be introduced at A level, the exams regulator has suggested. Ofqual intends to run focus groups on how grades will be allocated next year. Far more teenagers achieved the top grades this year after teacher assessments were used instead of exams. I wonder why. It's almost like it's in teachers' self-interest to actually give their kids higher grades. Who would have thought that? And last year, when an algorithm moderating results was scrapped, it meant almost 45% of A-levels were graded at A star or A this summer and 19% at A star. What a coincidence. Who would have thunk it? Experts are now trying to decide how to return to normality without penalising any particular year group. How about we just return to normality and we then have exams again? How about that? That would be good, wouldn't it? Gavin Williamson, the Education Secretary, has spoken about a glide path back to more normal A levels rather than a sudden change to grade boundaries next year, which would see far fewer school leavers achieving the top grades. Or maybe we've gone through an awful pandemic, which that generation or that cohort of young people suffered, and as a result, that was an aberration. How about we just treat it like that and try to return to normal as much as possible? Ofqual has indicated that pupils taking exams next year will not be held to the same standard as those sitting exams pre-pandemic. Of course, why would you? Why would you want future generations of lawyers, doctors, academics to be held to the same rigorous standard? I don't want my future oncologist to have had to go through all that horrible, stressful taking exams and learning stuff. You don't want that. It's going to stress the poor little babies out. Anyway, in a document seen by TES, the Times Educational Supplement, the regulator says its starting assumption is that attainment in 2022 will be lower than prior to the pandemic, and therefore it is not seeking to hold cohorts next year to the same standard. It suggests a new top grade could be introduced at A level to tackle concerns about grade inflations, but cautions that this is likely to cause anxiety and uncertainty. Right, Anton, can we get rid of this? Or how about, Conservative government, you put more money into education and you pump more money in, and that means that the kids who've actually been left behind due to no fault of their own during the pandemic, we give them proper support. We take them out. We give them structured support. We get people in, teachers in, who can work with them in small classes to focus on the fact that they haven't had structured education, so we can work on their literacy, their reading, their maths, to bring them up to standard. How about we do that instead of trying to then lower the academic standards right across the board, which ultimately won't help anyone, and it's just a way of you looking good and you not having to spend money. Absolute bullshit. Anyway, let's have some super chats in. Michael Ball. Wait, so I pull over for soup and coffee and KK disappears. What happened to him? The Gestapo came round. He was saying wrong things, got eliminated. That's how it works over here. If you don't have the right opinions, you get carted off. And I'm all for it. I am on the left after all. Stay York. The rich will move it out into the country while everyone else is herded into sustainable cities to be plugged into the internet all day and mine for data for the right to eat or socialise. Happy days, huh? Probably going to happen, Stay York, but doesn't matter, mate. It's all for the best. Enjoy it. What else have you got? Next. We've got one paid paleo and that's it. So we're just going to check. They paid paleo out. Let's see what it is, what they say. And it is from the wonderful Roisin. So what will kids be taught in 20 years' time when they study history? Who will be writing the history on this time? Because I can't imagine anyone will agree what has gone on in the past 18 months. Well, that's a very, very good point, Roisin. We're going to see what is going to happen over the past 18 months. To be honest with you, it's going to be a fascinating book when they look back on things like Trump, when they look back on things like Brexit, when they look back on the COVID pandemic, and they will see actually the decisions that were made. Because I can guarantee you, a lot of the people who are sitting down very smug in their opinions, thinking that they are the font of wisdom and knowledge, and actually they have all the answers to these terrible situations and this awful pandemic that has been inflicted on people, and which a lot of people have died from. Let's not forget that. They might realise in a few years that they backed the wrong horse, but we will see. But guys, we have got one last super chat. So bring it up. Scott Campbell, please use the Gammon Cam to relay your true feelings about the A-star start. And I'm going to do it now. All right, listen to me, right? I don't want my fucking paediatrician who's going to be looking after my kids, right, to have anything less than the most rigorous exam system to make sure that the best people are filtered to the top. I don't want any mediocre little slag looking after my kid, all right? Anyway, so there we go. But guys, I've got my show at the Museum of Comedy on the 12th of September. Come along. It's going to be soon. We've got a few tickets left, and we've got a few tickets to our Leicester Square show of Andrew Doyle. And we've got a wonderful show in November, 2nd of November, with Peter Hitchens. He loves that nickname.
Last one.
And we've got one more. Stay York. Thoughts on the lunatics trying to cancel Cheryl Cole for being white on an R&B pod. Mate, You know my opinions on it, Steve York. This is a nonsense. This is a sign of mental degeneracy. These people are fanatics. They cannot be reasoned with. They're lunatics. We just have to push back, and you've got to take the piss out of them. Guys, you have been utterly wonderful as always. Have a great, great Thursday night, and I will see you back here, same time, same place for more Raw. See you soon.